All right, we had to cancel the previous one because we had technical issues. Now I'll just test the sound, wait for this to launch, or if I need to restart, and then we're gonna kick off because this is a challenge by itself. Let's see. Give a second. I think yes. Nice. We are online. We are live. Okay, so guys, here I have prepared something for you today for this power hour. Remember, we are doing this every month, once a month. For the men's group, we are meeting once a month in person. We are actually doing these lives once a month, and then we are doing the coaching groups as well, where we are face to face in a group. So, but this is live where everyone is welcome, and I have prepared something. Let me share the screen quickly. Sorry for all the technical issues, but that's part of a life. This is not to be perfect. I'm not perfect, and but see, the thing is, what we're gonna make the progress in life is not how good you are, but how you can start and improve along the way. And actually, that is today's topic. So first, so there's four things why men often feel tired. Like, who has been there? I have been there myself. Like, that's a funny picture of after a gym session. But who has felt tired lately? Maybe, tired of work, maybe tired in relationships, or maybe just in general always tired. So what's causing that, and what is the solution? Okay, so how to turn it around. I have another screen. If I'm looking there, so I just have another screen. So let me just click the slides. So there's four things that's causing the tiredness, and so I'm not going to talk from. I don't want to talk from just some theory. I actually want to share my life and my life experience, so you can take something out of it. And it's nowhere perfect as the same as this live, okay? But it is something, and we're moving and we're improving. So your actions in one moment reveals your character in every other moment. So you see in here, we had the distractions, we had technical issues, but it didn't stop me to do what I need to do. And how much in life we have some distractions, circumstances, finances, or health, or maybe something even worse than that. And then what happens? We get thrown off the course. And so there was this one movie, Pay Forward, if you have seen it or no. And in that movie, there was the character, and he went very close with one of the girls, and he got very intimate, and he got scared because she would then see him naked, and he's all in these scars because his father put the petrol on him and set him on a fire. So he survived, but he was scared. So the fear or the insecurity caused him to run away rather than to embrace the love that they had. And so then she ran after him, and she found him in his house, and what he was doing, he was ironing shirts. So why I'm saying this, so there is many people who go through hard things or hard situations, and those routines or those repetitive things that we do is what actually calms us down. And then just remember the time when everyone could not go to work when there was a COVID, and all of a sudden the mental health for everyone went down, because yes, we don't like the work, yes, we don't like to wake up in the early mornings, but because we wake up in the early mornings, we need to take a shower, we need to brush our teeth, we need to be up and running, and there's something that puts us on a track, and we are going. And when we are already out and about and moving, and maybe in a lunch break or in even after the work, we come back home and we feel different. What happened? If we would then stay up in the bed for the rest of the day, we would then feel the same, maybe tired, maybe in the same thinking. But so what's needed is actually for us to step out of it. So how we show in one moment is how we show everywhere, and that's the character. So the character we're going to determine. Okay, and you can't be certain about your future if you're not clear about your past. Okay, this is very, very important, and I haven't really actually shared with anyone this. And in this session, we're going to talk about that. So, the number one, so remember, we're talking about the four reasons, yeah? So, number one is social pressure. So, for us as a man, so some people say you have to toughen up, and that means you cannot express yourself. and you cannot seek for help. And I know when I came here in England and I didn't have the English language, and English is not my first language, I couldn't express myself. And what happened, I actually got my first panic attack. It just because it was staying inside of me, and I was just going through it, going through it, going through it, and I never had that place where to release it. And sometimes releasing it is having a chat, and it can be with your mates, it can be with a specialist or whatever. But not in a way that we complain, because there is the downside. Because the downside is overstimulating, like, oh, you always have to worry about your emotions and feelings. And then what happens is, why I wasn't having any success in dating. Well, now I'm married, so that's a different story. But why I didn't have any success in dating, and I reflect back, I was like, I was in a good shape. I had finances, I had expensive clothes, but yet no girls would then go further than the first date, because all that I was doing, I was actually complaining. So what I'm saying here is the second thing is overstimulating and being over emotional and just complaining and whining about life and lacking that self-control. And none of this is healthy. No, like shoving those emotions and keeping inside of us until it's like a time bomb that we explode, or we are again are always just sharing everything with everyone. And that's why it's very important that we have this men's group. We have a safe place where we can open up, where we can encourage each other, and we're not going to pick up the phone and then start complaining to your clients, if someone is calling you on the phone. No. But if you have that support, and if you have a place where people can encourage and support you, then you can go back into the family, you can go back into the business, you can go back in the community, and again start crushing in life. So one of the things is that social pressure, and more emotional people will say, oh, you just have to do whatever you feel. And then what happens is you just do whatever you feel, and then life starts crashing down, because that's not a way out of it. Because the solutions are going to dive to them a little bit later. And then the second thing is life stressors like financial difficulties at work and pressures in relationships. Relationship breakdowns is a big one. It's like it's heavy. Okay. So if relationships suffer, then men suffer way more than the girls. Like, guys take it more personal, and one of the reasons I believe is because they also don't have that support group. When girls always are going to go drink coffee together, they're going to have that chat, they're going to have that support, when guys usually were going to be like shoving it down and then being by themselves. And I definitely have went through difficult situations myself. And one of the best things I can say is finding that someone that you can just talk and just vent it out, because that's actually coming from a healthy place. But then, if you do that, let's say in a healthy environment, then you're not looking as weak, you're not looking as vulnerable if you just go out and just do that in front of everyone. And especially if you're running your company, or if it's your wife or your girlfriend who is looking, or maybe the staff or the girlfriend or wife is looking up to you for the support and confidence, and then you show up as the person who don't have all figured out. And the truth is, no one has everything figured out. But think about a story. So if, for example, I would be a pilot, or you would be a pilot, and you're flying a plane, and then all of a sudden, there is a turbulence. The indicator shows you that there is maybe strong winds. So what do? You call to the cabin and say, guys, brace, brace, there is turbulence, I go wings, we're going to get through it. Yet you still are scared, you still are worried. But how about this scenario? If you call the cabin and say, guys, we have turbulence, what should I do? All of a sudden it's panic, because they look up to you for the guidance. But then what happens is, we look for their acceptance and their support. But if we are in that role of leadership, if we are in that role of running our business, if that means, or maybe leading the relationship, or wherever we are called to lead, then sometimes we're not going to have everything figured out. And being around the guys and seeing how they process and how they take on challenges, how they process risk, that actually gives strength and courage. So that's very important. Let me go back to the slides. Let me share this. And then, so what's the, let me click on that screen. And so what's the number three is isolation. That's why it's very important for us guys to stick together. And I'm gonna share later what's next, because we were just meeting online, whether it's in Zoom or whether it's on YouTube Live. But the next thing is actually start nurturing those relationships and building that life together, that we can experience things together as well, rather than just having a good chat, but actually being there. So isolation is a big one. So men are less likely to have strong social support networks, leading to loneliness. And that is what we do here. That's why we have this men's group. And if you're watching online, if you're watching on YouTube and maybe watching a replay, there is a link down. You can join. There is a WhatsApp group. There's a men's group that we run, and there's opportunity to connect with other like-minded guys. Because remember, you are not alone. Once you're gonna show up, once you're gonna realize that other people are facing the same things, then you're gonna realize that there's some people who've been there, some people who overcame it, and now you're going to be like, okay, if that guy can, I can. If they're going through, that's not against me. That's just how it is. And then we take it with ease, and all of a sudden we have that light in front of us, that we know that it is possible. And sometimes all that is needed is just to find the one person that gives us the strength. And then the fourth one that drains our energy is traumas and adverse experiences. Because when we go through some kind of a traumas or abuse or neglect or whatever has happened, we build the walls up. And then what we need to do, we always need to constantly protect those walls. And like, yeah, when I was gonna say a strong man, does a strong man means manipulating and controlling, or a strong man says, look, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and whatever you have to say, that's fine with me. Okay, so that means I don't have to protect myself. This is who I am. And so even if someone don't want to talk about their breakups, I openly talk about the breakups. If someone doesn't want to talk about the failures, I talk about the failures. Because the failures doesn't define you, the failures doesn't define me. Because this is what we all do, and this is what we all have went through. And life is not perfect, but it's what you do that counts. What you do next that counts, not what happened to you. And that is in your control. And especially if you see that other people are making it happen, even after like hard times, whether it's financial losses or health or anything, that just gives you more drive and more passion, more energy. And then you, from that where the energy is being drained, you get to the other side. And that's where we're going to come to. There is, first of all, if we don't know where we are, then we can never improve. So we have to understand what is the outcome from going through these 4 points, and maybe facing the loneliness, maybe going through this, maybe some kind of a depressing situation. So what is the outcomes? Yeah. So first of all, maybe it's a traumatic experience, maybe it's isolation, maybe it's life stressors, like on finances is a big one, especially for guys. So what are the 5 outcomes from that? And I don't want to be negative, but I just first want to shine the light what it is and call out as what it is. So then from here we can take on. Okay. So depression. So, and then people say depression and anxiety. And I just wanted to define what is what. And I needed to use Google and ChatGPT to have that to define it, because, for me, it sounds like one word. But depression is a persistent low mood, loss of interest, and reduced energy. And that is today's topic. Okay. And then what is the outcomes from all these energy drainers? Then the next is anxiety. And what is anxiety? Anxiety is worrying and fears, nervousness about the future events. So we're always worried about the future and worried what will going to happen, or maybe she's going to dump me, or maybe the work will not going to work out, or maybe the clients are going to leave me, or maybe I'm not going to have enough to pay the bills. So we're constantly thinking about tomorrow, but tomorrow is always negative, and then we feel anxious. And of course, if we stay there long enough, then we get depressed, because depressed means that we're constantly feeling low. Okay. And then that leads to substance abuse. And substance abuse, like I've been there, I've been drinking every evening to take off the edge, until the point of I'm gaining bad weight, eating crisps and so on, and then feeling bad waking up in the morning, and that then affects how I show up at work and then what results I have at work. And then my team also sees that, and then basically the energy levels that I carry, it goes everywhere. Okay, and I just look forward towards the evening to get take the edge off again, because something was missing. And so I was trying to avoid something, and that also includes scrolling or watching porn. And if you're gonna notice and be honest with yourself, whether it's drinking or scrolling or watching porn or like endless series, movies, like it can be all together, or maybe gaming, and then man gets stuck in this, but the life moves on, but they are left behind. And then the more they stay there, the more depressed they are, because the less they move forward. And there is an antidote to that. Okay, and then the outcome, number four, is suicidal thoughts and behaviors. And that's real. The pain is real, and no one should go through it. But also, our pain is always connected to our purpose. And so if that's you facing something so severe and you say, I cannot stand it anymore, that's serious. That means that you need to go and look for an assistance, a professional, someone who can help you and who knows what they do. And look, if you look for help, help is there. And if you're really ready to change, you can change. Everything is possible if you put your mind to it, because it also starts with you. And to be honest, no one can make you feel anything, except if they punch you in the face, and then of course you're gonna feel it. But if, for example, I go on a street and I cut you off with a car, and now you're frustrated, and you, for example, kind of work because you're always thinking about this guy who cut you off. It's like, I didn't do anything to you. You may needed just to push the brake pedal. Okay, and there may be someone who then goes on the street, maybe some homeless man, and he says something bad to you, and you just ignore it and you continue go. You just go to work and you never even remember about the person. So what happens is not what happened, is but what we allow to enter within us. Okay, because it doesn't matter what we eat, but what matters is what is eating us from within us. So the thoughts. So that's racing our mind. And then we can come to, yeah, such bad places of, like, thinking bad thoughts. And then we just need to go to a specialist who are gonna know how to deal with it. Okay. And the help is there. And anger and stress. And usually, where does the anger and stress happens? The anger and stress usually happens when we know what we want, or we know where we want to go, but we are not going there. And then we get frustrated, we get stressed out. Okay, and the stress also comes when this is what we imagine to be our life, and this is the life, and where it doesn't match, that's where the stress appears. Because if life and our dreams or our illusions match, there is no stress. This is just what it is. We're just swimming with it. But see, the thing is, no one knows life. No one has everything figured out, because when you grow as a kid, you just keep banging your head against the wall until you realize that the wall is something that you don't need to bang your head, and the substance is not soft, so you just need to be more careful. And now you live and you are not scared of the walls, but you just know what to do. And that's what happens is, when we go through life and we experience stress, we need to stop resisting, and we have to start learning. And in that place, there is no anger, because at that place we are at peace, because we know this is what happens if we do this, and this is the outcome. And no longer we are surprised, but we know. And likewise, you're responsible for your success, but also, if you know that you're responsible for your success, you are also responsible for your failures. And if you now know that that is your responsibility, no longer is the government's or your wife's or your nan's or granddad's or mom or dad to blame, then what happens, you now get to the reality and say, okay, it is down to me, down to my decisions, and down to my changes. Because when you change, then everything around you changes. And now let's go into the solution. So I think we have already been very honest. We know where we stand. And I have also some workshop here that we're going to do. And so I don't want just this to be a theory, but I actually want you to go away and say, you know what, I actually realize what's happening. I actually realize where things been going wrong, and I actually realize where I can get the drive and energy. So 5 solutions. So first of all, the growth is antidote for any depressive thoughts. So it can be personal development, and just maybe pick up a book and start reading about someone who has achieved something in your field. Maybe that's attending a seminar or attending a workshop, like just you are now here. So well done. First of all, well done to you for being here. No many people are doing it, and I think what was the statistics is like just only 1% of 100 people are doing this work, the personal development, because the better man gets, the better everything. Because I believe when a man gets better, everyone wins. But that also starts with ourselves, because how can we beat the enemy if we don't know ourselves? Okay, and then once you now start growing and developing yourself, life becomes more, you're more loving, you have more resources, you have more time, you have more finances, and all of a sudden that the more you do that, the better the future is. Even though today is hard and tough, you can bear it, because you know that tomorrow will going to be better than now. And the same like when you go on holidays, when you go on holidays, you may not be on holidays now, but you have holidays within a month, and now it gives you the boost and drive and motivation. Or maybe you're saving for something, so you're not going to go and spend all the money on partying and going out, but you're going to put it aside, because now I'm going to spend less. Although today I may feel uncomfortable, I'm not going to follow my feelings, because there's something greater than just this moment. Okay, and then group sessions. So surround yourself with like-minded people. And look, this is one option. Here we have this men's group. You're going to have an opportunity to join this men's group as well, and just be part of it if you feel this is your place. But if that's not your place, fine, you can find any community where you fit in. Maybe that's a fitness group, maybe that's, I don't know, reading club or any other. But just be with other people surrounded, and especially specifically, it's better to be with group of people who are focused on achieving some goals and pushing each other and keeping them accountable, rather than just a group where they entertain each other. Because in a group, you're going to make 30% bigger results than by yourself. Like 30%, that's a lot. 30%, that's a lot. Okay, and second of all, they're going to give you the advice, they're going to give you the motivation, inspiration. I remember when I was in 2021 or whatever, coming off from the COVID and all this, I was like, my hands was down, because the work wasn't happening and the finances wasn't happening. I just didn't know what to do. And I was going in these property meetings where all of the people are there, and some people talk about their success, some people talk about their struggles, and just being around people who are all focusing on building something just lit up something in me. And just being around those people, I now started to build again, and guess what? This past month, September 2025, we are now, for those of you who are watching the replay, it is the biggest month ever in the company since the existence. We've been working since what, 2000, I don't know, 15, 14, whatever. So anyway, like about 10 years. So in 10 years, the biggest turnover so far. And I think it's a good place. But I can tell you honestly, I've been in a place where I wanted to give up, but I started to surround myself with people, and I still want more driven people around me. Okay, so learn healthy coping strategies. And so there was the alternative, which was the medicating ourselves and getting in the addictions. But then, like, you cannot take anything away, but you can replace it. Because let's say, if you're not going to watch this video or this session today now, then you'll watch anything else, or you're going to go out, the time will still be there. So if in 24 hours, in 1 hour, you take out something, you will still do something else. So you cannot really take it out, but you can replace with something that's healthy. Okay, something that actually builds you, then something that gives you power. And just I'll ask a question. So for example, whatever is that you do, does that give you strength? So for example, if I would now have a bottle of wine, would I feel stronger or I would feel weaker? And well, most of the times the answer is we just feel weaker. And maybe we've been so strong and we had to fight so much that we just want to relax. But maybe there is ways that we can relax that actually builds us and gives us strength rather a way that makes us relax and then makes us weaker. And that is the alternative. And then seeking help, of course, because it's real. And I had a mom of one of the guys coming to me and said, look, Peter, I want to talk to you. And her son made suicide, and that's real. Because he said, look, he went through a breakup, and he said on the previous breakup, if that were going to happen again to me, I'm not gonna I think I'm not going to survive. And what he said to himself is what he did. Although mom was there, although people was around him, and we can be surrounded by people, especially here in London, by millions and thousands of people, but still feel lonely, still feel that the struggle is only my struggle and no one is there to assist. But that's a lie, because see, there is help, there is assistance, there is communities, there is people who can help you. But the only thing is we have to be willing to accept it. And then seeking help is the number one, because how you get something in life is by asking. So, and if you need the help, I encourage you, just go and ask. And how you get the girl's phone number is by asking that phone number. Okay. And how do you get the clients is by asking people, do they need your service? So the answer is asking. Okay. So seeking help, and you will going to get the help, but you need to humble yourself and be in a place and an understanding. And that's why I said, what is actually the result of all these drainers that draining us? You have to be real. This is the result. So the result is maybe I'm depressed, I'm anxious, maybe I'm angry and stressed. So just be real and say, look, this is what's happening. And then say, well, I need help here. Okay, and then the fifth solution is stress management. So, and that's the more triggers you face in your life, the better growth opportunities you have. And look at that, like triggers as being your growth opportunity, because every trigger teaches you something. Okay, so use time management techniques and reduce anger, by different methods. Like for example, one of the methods that I found myself was the cold plunging, yeah, stress management, and also swimming. Not even necessarily in cold, just in a swimming pool, because that requires controlling your breathing. And when you control your breathing, whether in meditation or anything, then you have to relax. And if you tried swimming, if you know swimming, if you're not, of course, sprinting and competing, then you have to be relaxed. And when you're relaxed, then you can swim long distances, like 2 kilometers I have swum and so on. So that was my stress management, and I absolutely love swimming. You may, if you know me, I do a lot of swimming. But I'm saying you find yourself, or maybe that for you is something, maybe just reading a book on something and then finding the techniques that works for you. Okay. And then here we came to the part where actually I wanted to have real practical things for those of you who are here. And then here, this is a very good quote from Ray Dalio, and I actually was listening to his podcast, and follow him and watch listen to his books as well. It's all about investment and then finances, but this is one of the keys, or how to say, the quotes that he quoted that has helped him a lot, because he has went through a pain as well, because he had to face a loss of a loved one. Okay, and so what he said is pain plus reflection equals progress. And if I look back in my life, and I can say each time when I had faced the pain, and each time I had reflected on it, I have made progress. But each time I've been avoiding, each time I've been running away, is where there was no progress. And then you may know people who will try to avoid to talk about the things or to address something, and guess what happens? They become time bombs, and the longer they go, the worse it gets. So here, let's look at this. Okay, this is the exercise, and let's see what is the primary emotion that we at the moment are experiencing. And let's be real, let's talk about what's missing. Let's talk about the negative, because we need to identify the area of improvement so we can improve. If we cannot be real with ourselves, we can never make that change. And for example, let's go from the ring. And what we need to do, we need to pick any emotion that's dominating your life from the outside and then go inside. So, have you picked yours? So, maybe from the red ones: hostile, furious, irritated, annoyed. Okay, so let's say I feel maybe, let me see, frustrated, okay, furious, angered, okay. So let's say annoyed. I feel annoyed. I feel annoyed that, whatever I do is not working, that other people are way ahead in life, that my relationships has crashed, that I haven't done anything, that I'm always struggling with finances. Okay. And then where does that leads? Let's go to the second ring. So if you see where it's annoyed, it leads to frustrated. So I'm annoyed, and who am I annoyed? I am annoyed, of course, on everyone else, because of course it's not my fault, it's everyone else's fault. Like, you know where it's going. It's someone else always. Okay, so I'm annoyed, it wasn't fair, and now I feel frustrated, and that causes anger, and then I live in the anger. And so that is the feeling that drives me primarily. And I remember when I was going to gym, the anger was driving me, and people would say, "Why are you pushing yourself so much?" And my life wasn't going. Sorry, let me have a water. So my life wasn't working. I was working in restaurants selling noodles next to London Eye. I was I couldn't talk in English. I couldn't connect to the girls. I was feeling lonely, and I had nothing except the gym. And because that was the only thing, I would just go there with an anger and train and and punish myself. And well, it's better to release the anger in the gym rather than release the anger through other people and shouting and screaming and kind of aggressive. I don't know, beating someone up because I feel angry. So I dealt in that way, and then the result was I built a stronger body, which is great way actually to deal with anger. But if we stay in that state for long enough, then it will gonna kill all my opportunities and kill the joy. And then even if I'm having a great body, at that time I couldn't build any good relationships. Okay. And there was multiple factors, and so identifying like what is actually happening in you, what is that you feeling. Okay, because usually what is leading our life is the feelings that we experience, and quality of our feelings determines the quality of our life. Okay, and don't worry about that if you feel something that you don't like, because you're feeling something, it doesn't define you. It's just, so if you look at that, this is what I feel, I am frustrated. Now, all of a sudden, you can be constructive rather than reactive. Okay, and then feeling uncomfortable just by being frustrated. It's not by itself is bad. It's not bad. Like feeling cold is not bad, and it's not positive. It's not positive feeling when you're freezing. But then if you jump in an ice bath, like it's actually not bad. It's not killing me. It's just the feeling that I feel. And then you come out from there, and then you go like, oh man, I feel good. I feel excited. It's not that cold anymore. It just means you're experiencing it. And if you're experiencing it, that's good. You're alive. That's good. See, the thing is, to heal it, you have to experience it. So feel it, heal it. But many people don't want to feel that feeling, the anger, the frustration. Okay, so we can go back. Yeah, they don't want to experience it. Okay, maybe the aggression. So maybe they're mad, maybe upset. Okay, maybe they're stressed. Maybe they, whatever they are experiencing, they don't want to experience it. And maybe they're feeling lonely, and that's why they are medicating themselves. That's why they're running away. That's why they are scrolling. That's why they are doing all these activities that kind of helps them to not feel the feeling, but it doesn't help them to move forward. And the only way to move forward is to face it and go through it. And once you shine a light on it, and how do you shine a light on it is by calling out a name. Okay. And then you say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what is happening. And now then you can say, so what do I do with it? So no longer you have to react, but you can then say, okay, so this is what's happening in me. And then you ask a question, what do I need to do with it, or what do I want to do with it? And this is one of the from the Ray Dalio's um, patterns that he has shared, and I wanted to share with you as well from his book. And so, we start here. I show with the mouse. Can you see it? So we start all with goals. We're excited about our new career and about new goals. And, maybe we're going to buy something, or maybe we're going to move the countries, and everything we're going to go smoothly. And like me, but then then what happens, then the failure happens, and you realize that maybe actually moving a country is not that easy. Maybe language is hard, maybe no one was waiting for you, maybe it's hard to find a job, maybe the living costs are expensive, maybe not that much money is actually left over there. I was thinking, and I was hoping that everyone were going to wait and expect for me here. I soon realized that no one really cares if I am here in London or I am not here in London. Okay. And that was a tough place to be. But then the next step is we need to get to the learning place, okay, to the learning principles. But if we don't want to experience the feeling, we will never gonna get to the learning, because this is the place. Remember, the loop is going down. This is where we start drinking. This is where we start medicating ourselves. This is where the addiction starts, because we are avoiding the wheel. We are avoiding a feeling, because all there is, it is just a feeling. And if we would say, oh, well, it's just a feeling, then we would not have to worry about that much. And then we would be able to be constructive. Then from there, we can improve. And well, you say, well, it's not that easy. Yes, I am saying it's not easy. And I agree with you, it's hard, but it's worth it, because then we can improve. And that is where we don't have stress in this particular situation, because we learn that this is what I expected, and this is the real life, and it starts matching, because we learn from it. Because see, the thing is, our illusion is one thing in our life, and life as it is something else. And the only way for us to learn it is by constantly getting in contact with it and rubbing against it until we understand how it works. And there will always are going to be next situations and next steps, because that's where the next thing goes. It's we have the next goal. Maybe the first goal was like to get the job, and maybe the next goal was to buy the car, and maybe the next goal is like to get the relationships, and then maybe is having kids, and then maybe we are running out of time, or whatever is the situation. There's always next challenge, and then there's always next learning, always next failure. And then if we go through this and we don't run away from it, then every single experience, bad or negative, will gonna help us to move forward. And that it is what I wanted to share. Okay. So if you're feeling something, it doesn't define you. Okay. So feeling uncomfortable, it's not bad by itself. Okay. It just means you're experiencing it. That's it. This discomfort isn't a depression. So, well, some people say, "Oh, I just feel bad." Well, that's okay. Sometimes you didn't had enough sleep, and that's okay. So you're feeling a little bit slower today. And I'm not talking about always being super excited and super happy, but I'm talking about that not being there consistently down, but having those good moments and bad moments and all that together, because that's where we learn, and that's the reality of life. And now we go back to this wheel of life. I mean, now we have realized where we are. Okay. And I want to stretch your mind, and I want to actually ask, okay, what is that you want to experience? And now what we're going to do, we'll go from inside, we're going to go out. Okay. So look at the circle that is inside, look at the circle inside. And then from these feelings, what is that you want to feel? Maybe that's anticipation. Maybe that's happiness. Maybe that's trust. And probably we don't want to feel the disgust, anger, and sadness, or fear, or surprise. But surprise sometimes, yes. We want surprises. We want gifts. And these surprises can be all, because all of us, we want certainty, because we want to know where we're going to be living, that we're going to have food. But all of us also, we want to have surprise, uncertainty, and both of them is needed. And that's why people do extreme things and everything, because they just lost it. Everything is gray, everything is the same. So both of them is needed. But what is that one thing you would like? And I remember when I came to London, I was living in a basement flat and sleeping next to the window, and I remember I wasn't feeling good, and I was thinking, I just want to feel happy. I just want to feel happy, regardless of what are the financial situations, because I came here in 2008. And I just want to feel at peace. And then I was like, okay. And I didn't know how to achieve it, but I did know what I want. And just now experience it and just think about it. If you truly would be now experiencing it, let's say happiness, what would be the next thing? Would you be optimistic? Would you be confident? Would you be strong and joyful, aroused or loving? Like, what would be the next level for you? And maybe that's joyful. And I definitely have lost joy in previous times when things wasn't going great. It's hard to be joyful. But as in the Bible, it says, rejoice in your suffering. Yeah, and I really like that because it serves as an encouragement, because the person who was writing it actually at the time was actually in a prison. So happiness, as by itself, is what happened to you, but joy is something that you choose. You cannot always determine what will happen to you, but you can always control your choices. And so think about that. If you have that joy in your heart, and maybe just that means that you're going to be more playful, okay, more excited, more delighted, maybe more proud, more inspired, more positive. So whatever is that, the end result, okay, and maybe it's just, let's say, to be more inspired. So what would you do to be more inspired? Now that you are inspired, what would actually you do? And just, it's an exercise. You just stretch your mind, and there's no right or wrong answers. This is your answer, and you don't have to be right. You just, like, if I would be inspired, I would do X. I would sign up for, I don't know, marathon in London Marathon. I would, I don't know, I climb a mountain. I was just gonna start my own career in, I don't know, photography. I would, I don't know. I would just gonna start an exciting journey, maybe travel and do backpacking. If I would be inspired, I would just gonna, maybe start some YouTube channel. Maybe I would gonna do something on Instagram. Like, there's all sorts of things. Like, if you would be inspired, you would do, and then you continue, because that's what I want you to bring out from this session. Because if you believe and if you can feel it, then you can achieve it. Because what is actually what's stopping us? If we have the knowledge, but if we don't have the feeling, then we don't have the belief that it is possible. And two people can be in the same room and learn the same knowledge and the same methods, but only the one person with the right mindset will be able to apply it and consistently use it. So, although if I tell you how to process the bad negative emotions, how to learn, how to move forward, and if we look at this, yeah, so how we get to our goals, okay, and this is the journey. I can show you. This is even like this is a system. This is how you do it, okay, and even here. So pain, reflection, progress, simple as that. But only the one person with the right mindset will be able to execute it, okay. So here, so what's next? Okay, now you know what you want in life. You now know where you are. You now know what's draining your energy. You know what are the consequences if you don't improve it. Okay, so what's next? Okay, so there's men's social run. I'll play a video. I'll press play. There's going to be sound, so I'm going to check that it's working on this phone. But I'll let you watch. There's men's social run, and I invite you. This is next Thursday, 9th of October, 8:45. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if you guys heard it. Yes, I think that the video wasn't actually playing there, but well, I'm gonna tell. There is a men's social run, and we're gonna meet in person. So it's not just a theory. It's not just like something that we do online. But I want actually to connect with you. I want to spend time with you. I want to learn from you. I want you to encourage me and inspire me, and I likewise want to inspire and encourage you. And then this is not a competition. This is a social run, and after we just go for a drink, drink some whatever you want, whether it's a water or a soft drink, or if you want a beer, fine. There's no judgment, but this is just a social run that we guys all spend together. Okay, and you're welcome to join because there is power in being in a strong community. Okay, and why did I start this myself? Like, what's there for me? It's a good question because I struggled myself and I needed this myself. I needed the support. I needed the guidance. And I come from a broken family. My dad wasn't there. I didn't know how to process life. So I went through struggle, trial and error. And that's the hard way. And I now look up for driven men. And I actually look for people who could teach me and coach me and I could learn from them. And now that I'm learning and growing and I'm now more inspired, I want to share it because when you have something, the only thing that you can actually enjoy it is when you're sharing it. So let's say you're going to go traveling but by yourself, and you'd not be allowed to take any pictures and share it with anyone, or if you're going to go with your friends or mates or with your family, like it's completely different experience. And that's the same here. Like this journey of self-development, this journey of growth, this journey of moving forward, it's so much more interesting when it is done together. And that's why I'm doing it, because I found myself in low places. I found myself, I don't know how to deal with it, and now that I'm learning, I actually want to share it with others. So, and here in this men's group, what you can do, what you can count on, you can count on strategies, because I am constantly improving myself, improving in my business, improving in my relationships and learning, and I'm sharing real life. I'm not actually just giving you theory. Okay. And then exclusive WhatsApp group where we can have a chat, and then there's also two Zoom meetings where we have group chats and where we can interact, not just like here in live, but there we can actually break down individual situations, what's happening. So live Q&A and group discussions, so we can have a chat and speak to each other. Okay. So, and there is a bonus as well. Even if you miss the recording, I always record it. So I pay for the Zoom subscription, whatever is £50, £60, whatever, in a month, and then I just share it. Okay. So just think about that. I pay for it, so you would then have the recording. Let's say you've been busy or working or sleeping, and then you can listen that whilst you're running. You can listen that whilst you're driving in the traffic, or maybe you're in wherever you're heading. Then that's no extra time. You can just watch it in your own time, and then you never miss it. So what's next? So there's a social run. We're meeting at the Blackfriars tube station next Thursday, 8:45. And then there is the group coaching call. So that's the next level, if that is for you, because it's not for everyone. And then there's YouTube live again. So in 3 weeks, so I do these YouTube lives, and then I do the live meetings, and then I do this group coaching call. So I try to mix it so everyone can join. So people can join in a free YouTube session, maybe in the next one you can put it down in your diary, or if you want, join in the coaching call, because that's where the magic is. Because the magic is not in the theory or just knowing it, but in applying. And how do you apply is when you're actually in the gym, in the ring, and do the work yourself. Okay, so like that's like having a membership but not training, or having a membership and actually using the equipment, and that is the comparison. So that's why I say it's not for everyone, but it's for those who want more from life, more from business, and more from relationships. So there is this men's group where you can join, and that is what I want to find myself around driven and committed guys who are showing up and who are really ready for the next level, rather than just saying. And so this is just some of the Zoom sessions that we have had. And I have been running it for 4 years now already. And now it's a new format. So now we are here where actually it is paid. Before it was for free. Okay. And the only thing standing in your way is yourself. The only thing that's standing in your way is yourself. And so I started to learn myself. and I started to invest in myself. I paid for Tony Robbins seminars and coaching, and I'm on an inner circle with him. And then I went to Russell Brunson, so I learned in my business how to like scale and grow my business. And then this is my coach, and I'm still with this coach. So it's been 1.5 year now, and I've been with Tony Robbins, personal development coach as well, like one to one. And I find myself that group coaching is the best because it's not only that you have the discussion, but you also sometimes see what other people are going through it. And when they talk about their challenges, or maybe they're breaking down their situation, what happens is you can learn from others, and that can resonate with you. And sometimes you even don't see that, but you see that in others, and then you can reflect it yourself. So that's the mirror. Okay, so there is no such thing as something for nothing. Just there is like just to like forget about it. Many people want many things in life, but they're not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to give up anything. So see, the thing is, when you change, then the circumstances change. And if all that we have is expectation that someone is going to give us, guess what's going to happen? Nothing will going to happen. I just have to be real with you. Okay, the real growth and success in food requires effort, commitment, and action. And if that's you, then here is an opportunity. Last month it was 15 pounds, and now it's 20 pounds. So some people were going to go today, grab a bottle of wine. That's no problem. They were going to do it every single day, like me. Okay. And there's no problem that like 20 pounds just goes like that. Okay. But then there's someone who gonna say, look, that's for me. And rather than me spending the money that are going to be gone anyway, but it's not building me, rather than me investing in myself and actually doing something that gives me more power. Because that's what I said. We all were going to have the same 24 hours, and we cannot take anything out of them. We can just replace. And so my question is this: what are you willing to replace with something that gives you the strength and power? And if you're not willing to replace and you want to still go ahead with all the same things that you've been doing, then you always have the same results. But I want you to step up, and I want to be surrounded with other guys. And that's why I started to do this monthly membership, because I'm committed, I'm spending my time, and I'm getting it serious. Because if you guys don't need it, then what's the point? I need to find those who are driven, who want to be around other driven men. And I trust that there's so many guys who are looking for brotherhood. There's so many guys who are looking to learn and grow and expand. And I'm definitely one of those. And if that's you, then join, and we're gonna have a good time together. And then we may go social run, we may do other things. We have done these men's retreats as well, and all of the things, all is there. But we have to have some filter, and we have to filter out the noise, and we have to know who is actually really committed. But then all this information as well, you're going to see in the description in the YouTube live if you are watching the replay. So thank you guys. Hope you really take something out of it, and now at least you know what is that you're striving and what is actually holding you down, because all that is there is actually just one feeling. And once you realize that it is just a feeling, it's not bad, it's not good, it's not negative, it's just a feeling. And when you understand that the only way for you to move forward is to feel it, then you can heal it, and then you can move forward. So hope to see you in the social run. I put up this information. Where do we have on the social run here? See you on this Thursday, next week, 9th of October. This is 2025. For those who are watching the reply, I don't know how long this video will be live. 8:45 p.m. See you guys, and if not, in the next live. See ya. Bye.